And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Shahrokh Zadeh, distinguished researcher, author, and speaker. He is the visionary behind the terms mysteriology and mysteriologist, and he is also the founder of Ancient Mysteries Decoded. Shahrokh, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me in your program.
You coined the term mysteriology. What is that, and what is the difference between that and archaeology and ufology?
Very interesting. Yes. So I noticed that the research I'm doing is not just touching one discipline. Okay, it's an interdiscipline research that I'm doing, and I'm touching the history. I'm touching mathematics. I'm using UFO incidents, and I'm using other disciplines, right? So I try to find interdisciplinary term for that. Okay, the only thing I came up with was mysteriology. So mysteriology is unlike the archaeology that only focuses on history, or is unlike the ufology that only focuses on UFOs. Mysteriology connects the dots between all of them, and scientifically. So it uses the tools which is provided by science, and it explores how these events and places might relate to each other. Okay, and so I started using this term, mysteriology, and so I consider myself as the first mysteriologist. And so I have two assistants. One of them is my daughter, and the other one is my friend. So they are helping me in this field, in other things. So I'm bringing this term up as a scientific method to investigate and research about mysteries.
Many people in the United States are aware of the Bermuda Triangle, but I don't think the masses know about the Nevada Triangle, the Utah Triangle, the one in Lake Michigan, and the one in Connecticut. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, so the Bermuda Triangle is a term that's been created in the 90s. I think it was around 1960 that somebody brought this up, that this area is mysterious. A lot of mysterious things are happening. You know, ships and airplanes disappear all around the world, not just in this specific area, but the way they disappear is interesting. In Bermuda Triangle, the event that caused the population of Bermuda Triangle is the famous Flight 19. The Flight 19, I don't know how much you are aware of this. Briefly, if I want to say, is that there was a practice in Fort Lauderdale in Florida that the Avengers over there, the planes, group by group, they go and do their mission and come back. The 19th mission was this Flight 19. So there were 5 Avengers, I think torpedoes. I'm not sure about exactly the kind of their airplanes now. So these 5 planes, they went to do their mission. As soon as they did the mission and they needed to turn back, an incident happened. The compasses started rotating. The weather changed around them. They didn't know where they are. There's a white fog around them, and they can see the ocean, but the ocean had a different color. So they didn't know where they are. They didn't know their direction. They didn't know where they're heading because the sunlight was not vivid, was not obvious. The whole air was lit by the sunlight. So, and they were just flying close to each other. At one point, they thought that they are in the southern part of the Florida where the Keys are. The islands look like that, but that's far away. They could never have been there. You know, it could have been that area. They're far away from that area, but that's what they thought they are. And then they started fading out. The radio connection started fading out until they disappeared. And until today, they couldn't find it. Huge, actually, effort was a research effort took place over there. Interestingly, one airplane, a rescue airplane that could not sink in the water, took off to the location that they thought they are, to maybe help them. That after like few minutes after taking off also disappeared. And some people said that they saw an explosion in the sky in that same area. But anyways, 6 planes disappeared with about 27 people. So that escalated the mysterious actually incidents happening in that area, and the term Bermuda Triangle started. But planes, as I said, ships, boats disappear all around the world, right? These mysterious things are happening in that area every once in a while. Then from the other side, we have on land, we have this Nevada Triangle. It was smaller than the Bermuda Triangle, but it's largest triangle among the other actually mysterious places like the Bridgewater Triangle and the Nevada, the Lake Michigan Triangle. This one it has a different terrain. It has mountains, it has flat places, it has a hottest spot in the whole United States. But mysterious things are happening here as well. Same thing. Compasses start rotating and things like that. Not only small, for a while, they thought that the weather is the cause, the air, the flow of wind is the cause of these airplanes to crash. And the weather, they thought that it's strong enough to pull down the small airplanes, and they were right. But what about the big airplanes? We have big airplanes, military airplanes, that they also disappear. In one case, military airplane disappeared. They found it in the top of Mount Charleston, which is in the northern part of Las Vegas, okay? Besides this airplane disappearing, we have people that disappear. We have missing people. So hikers, when they are hiking, they don't come back. And a researcher, actually pinpointed the locations of these mysterious people that they disappear in the whole United States, and found out that there are areas that we have more missing people than other areas. He called it clusters of missing people. The largest cluster of missing people in the whole United States happened to be in the same Nevada Triangle. So it's very interesting that these things are happening in this area versus other areas, very concentrated. So that's why the Nevada Triangle is a mysterious place.
Do you think that these places have a geologic cause or something else?
I have a hypothesis, and which is written in my second book, Sha'Z, Mystic Lines and Areas, at the end, the last chapter. What is happening? When you put the location, it's not enough. When you want to research something like this, in this vast, actually, scientific method, you need to put location, you need to put time, and you need to put the object. There are 3 things. The object can be an airplane, can be a car, can be a human, can be a UFO, can be an alien, whatever. That's the object. It has a mass. And then we have time, and then we have location. The time is not the time that we think. The time that we think is the time, the clock that we invented, and it has 3 handles. It has the hour handle, it has the minute handle, and we have 12 hours until noon, and then we have another 12 hours in the afternoon, so we have 24 hours a day. These are actually assigned by human. If there is an entity like ET or an extraterrestrial entity, they have their own times. But nature also has its own time. Okay, it has its own clock, and it works differently than us. When I put these 3 things together, I found some correlations for the first time, that things don't happen just randomly. We have a lot of mysterious things that baffles our scientists, and these things are happening in specific location on specific times. Okay. From the other side, what connects mass, time, and mass, time, and location, what connects them is an energy. Okay, is a force. And so far, we have 4 kinds of forces that's been discovered. The latest one is the atomic force. We have strong power atomic force, or nuclear force, and we have weak power atomic force, right? Or nuclear forces. These are new ones, but before that, we found that there's an electromagnetic force, which is a combination of electric force and magnetic force. And before that, Newton discovered actually was talking about the gravity force. So we have like 4 kind of forces. What if there's another one? Okay, and for example, all 4 of these forces are not intellectual. They don't have smartness. Okay, but what if we find a force that is smart? And in traditional Chinese and traditional Asia, they came up with another force which is related to our life. It's called qi. So we have Tai Chi Chuan, we have things like that. And then we see people that they're doing energy healing and they're talking about the prana and the chakras, and all these terms came up based on an intellectual force. Okay. So if we consider that also, we're going to have 5 kind of forces and 5 kind of energies. These 5 correlates the mass, the location, and the times. These are the connections. So my hypothesis goes from there. It says, okay, let's see if we can find some commonalities in between. So I look at the mountains, I look at the earthquakes, I look at the hurricanes, I found commonalities. So now I know that there's a relationship between hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and volcanoes. And we have a relationship between them with some other fixed locations in nature, like the mountains, like Mount Everest and Mount Denali and some other mountains. There's a mountain, for example, in the United States, it's called the Devil's Tower. I think it's in Wyoming. Okay, it's very strange. So things like that. Yeah. So when my theory said that these are all related to each other, and that's how I put that lens, and I can find some correlations between the mysterious things and the nature, which I'm actually the mysteriologist that is researching about these things, and I put the term mysteriology for my discipline.
So what are we looking at here?
This is the Nevada Triangle, and with the circle around it. So let me show you this picture here, and let me zoom in a little bit, I think, to make it much better. So this red line is the triangle that I was talking about, which is called the Nevada Triangle. The yellow area here is the Area 51, which you can see half of it is inside this triangle and half of it is outside. And in down right, in the very corner, where it says NVTE, that means Nevada Triangle East Corner, which is actually in Las Vegas. In the left side, you can see NVTS, which is Nevada Triangle South, and that is in a city called Fresno in California. And up here, there's a city called Reno. It's also Nevada. But I found out that if I move a little bit higher, like 50 miles higher to this corner, then everything else aligns. So I reshaped the Nevada Triangle with a little bit difference. And I came up with this point, which I call it NVTN, which is Nevada Triangle North. So these red lines are the corners of this Nevada Triangle. And the circle around it, the white circle, is the circumcircle, which touches, the circumference touches 3 corners of this triangle. It's a unique and only circle that can do that. It has a center, which is, here you can see the star. Let me go in a little bit. NVT circumcircle, that's the star, which is a little bit above Area 51. Okay. And in my research, I put I pinpointed some of these incidents, and you can see the green dots down here. These are the incidents that happen. At the first glance, you don't see any relationship between them. And then inside this yellow area, there are 2 dots here. This is the top one is the base of the Area 51 near the Groom Lake. And below that is the famous S4 that they're talking about. They suggest that perhaps the UFOs are under investigation and reverse engineering in that area. So these are the two dots.
Now you
So to
didn't.
make it easy, I put these dots here so you can see the map.
Now you didn't create this triangle. It was already there. You just added the circles and the circumference, correct?
Correct. The red triangle is the same. The yellow area is the same. The incidences are the same. The only change I did here is to increase the northern corner like 50 miles higher. That's it. I put it here. Because when I put there, the shape aligns. All the lines match with each other much easier. There's a minor effect on this. The yellow area and the green and the red area and the green dots and the yellow dots are all done by others. The only thing I did here is to change that northern of the triangle, and add this white circle with the center to the map.
The green dots represent lost planes and missing people and stuff like that.
Exactly. These are the examples that I had. The reason I had to use these examples is because I know the dates, I know the location. We have other stories and other incidents which I'm not aware. I couldn't find the exact date or the exact, when I say date, includes the time and the exact coordinate of that. So I didn't add them.
That's fascinating. Can we take a look at the Michigan Triangle?
Yep. This is the Great Lake Michigan Triangle, or Lake Michigan Triangle, or just Michigan Triangle.
I don't see any dots for incidences. I know historically there was a ship that went down somewhere in Lake Michigan called the Edmund Fitzgerald. Was that within the triangle?
Yes, many of these ships have been disappeared in this area. Let me put this at the dots. These are the dots that I use in my research because I know the exact location or very close location of the incident, and I know the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's written in my book, and all the details with the coordinates and all the information. As you can see, many of these dots are where the incidents happen are inside the triangle, but a few of them, like the center one and the one below here, are on the line, and the one here. And then we have like about few more that are outside the triangle. So the previous actually study about Lake Michigan Triangle could not have any explanation about the incidents that occur outside of the triangle.
How do you think people came up with the borders of these triangles?
Well, eventually, a lot of other mysterious things happened, which is not actually presented in this image, on this image. So those, when they put these dots, and they estimatedly actually came up with the location, they found out that this area is mysterious. This is the area that a lot of mysterious things are happening. We have other cities nearby, okay? But they were not very actually mysterious. The only cities that and the areas between where mysteries are these three actually cities and their mysteries. And I have their names here if you want to know. Okay, I have Manitowoc, I have Ludington here, and in the down here we have Benton Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, we have other places here like Norton Shores in the side. We have the city of Holland, we have South Haven, and we have the Chicago itself, which is huge. And all the way up, we have Kenosha, we have Racine, Milwaukee, for example. But most of the incidents to those people occurred in this area. But this doesn't explain the other incidents nearby, which are outside of the area. My research explains them.
Do you think that deniers of the triangle would say that, well, there's a lot of incidences outside the triangle, so maybe they're just making false conclusions?
Yes, skepticism are from one side are the challenges that all the researchers always have. From another side, helps the research to look at them from another angle and another perspective and complete their research. Okay, that's why I think we always should have some skeptics.
Right.
And yes, they might come up that incidents might happen to other places as well. And they're right. We have incidents all around the world. Okay. But there are areas that we have more incidents. When I talk about incidents, I'm not talking about the regular ones. I'm talking about the ones that baffles the scientists. And there's no explanation, no natural or scientific explanation. That's what actually I'm touching. That's what I'm referring to. We have incidents in North Pole, we have incidents in South Pole, and everywhere else. But the ones in this area are more often and it occurs more often. So that's why it's like a danger zone. It's a mysterious zone for people who are navigating within this area. Okay.
Let's take a look at the Bridgewater Triangle.
Sure. Okay, so this is the Bridgewater Triangle, and this is the map by Google Earth. And the red line is the Bridgewater Triangle that people assigned. And I put like about 6 or 7 dots here, the green dots, that if I zoom in, you can see it much more better. Okay, these 3 dots in the top, in the center, as you can see, 2 of them are on the line and 1 of them is in the middle. And down, you can see 3 dots that none of them are on the line, but 1 of them is inside the triangle and 2 of them are outside the triangle. So overall, I put this, I use these examples because 2 of these locations are inside the triangle, 2 of them are on the triangle, and 2 of them are outside the triangle. There's one more triangle, one more incident that usually happens, the Hitchcock effect, or Hitchcock actually incident that usually happens in the western corner of this triangle. As I mentioned earlier, the red triangle is not done with me. The green dots are not even told by me. I never talked about them before. The only thing is that I added this circle, the white circle. The white circle is the one that I added and I called my golden key. It's the only circle that connects the 3 corners of this Bridgewater Triangle together, and it's called the circumcircle. It has a center, which is shown over there in the middle, okay? Which is shown with a star. Interestingly, when I added this, I noticed the spot number 2 and spot number 6 is they are almost on the circle. Okay, so here is a geometric relation. Then I went inside the triangle and I used the same center and I drew another circle, which is the black circle. Surprisingly, both 3 dots of 1, 4, and 5 are on the circumference of that circle. Okay, so here comes the intersection between the black circle and the red lines. So you can see number 1 is almost over there on that intersection. Number 4 is also over there, which makes it very fascinating. The other thing is that I can add to this to show you is the next image here, this one. Okay, so I drew a line from the center, this top circle, this dot in the top, all the way down, and I noticed that all 3 of the dots are on that straight line. Then I used the dot here on the right side, and I connected to the other one. The intersection of these 2 green lines are very close to the star, to the circumcircle. But so I found a pattern here. The pattern shows that these dots are related to each other. But what about the one in the left? The one in the left is just sitting over there. So how can I use that? Is there any relationship, mathematical relationship that can show me here? So I put the numbers there. I'm talking about number 1. So interestingly, when I connect the number 1 here to that intersection and I continue, it reaches to another specific location, which is the intersection of this black circle with the red line. You can see how these lines and circles their intersections are playing a specific role here. I didn't have any, I couldn't find any, incidents that occurred in this corner. It might happen later. Because nothing happened before doesn't mean that it won't happen later. This is a reserved place for this area that a mysterious thing like a UFO incident or something might happen in this area later on. So as you can see, these patterns, these lines help me to predict other similar incidents, okay? So the intersection is labeled as INT, and the number 1, number 4, and 5 represents the incidents. The center of that circle, which is called circumcenter, is called BWT, which is Bridgewater Triangle, and CC, which is circumcenter. And that predicting spot, I call it just simple P. That's how I labeled it in my book. So when you read, it guides you exactly step by step how I came up with these predictions.
If you put all 3 of these triangles together, don't they line up somehow?
So this is the map of the United States, and you can see it's from East Coast to West Coast. And there are 3 triangles there. The right one is the very small one, which almost looks like a dot. That's the small Bridgewater Triangle. The middle one is the Lake Michigan Triangle, and the left one is the Nevada Triangle. So as I said, I never did anything to them. It's been there sitting there, and people are talking about it for years. The only thing I did is to add the circle. So when I add the circle to the Lake Michigan Triangle, it has a center. And then I add a circle to Nevada Triangle that also has a center. Then I did the same thing for the Bridgewater Triangle. Surprisingly, all 3 centers are on a straight line. This is the first thing that I found, which is fascinating, and I called it Sha'Z principal line. So this is the main line. Look at the odd that these 3 dots, which have never been actually investigated before, are on a straight line. The second thing that I found is their proportion. So I drew a line from the northern parts of these circles. I drew a line from the lowest parts of these circles and I attached them, and it's shown here with gray lines. These gray lines are called Sha'Z deputy lines. And as you can see, Lake Michigan Triangle is fitting exactly inside that area. So that means that the proportions are set actually appropriately together. They are related together. So this geometry wouldn't have happened if I didn't add those, that golden key, the circle, okay? The third thing that I found here is that the proportion of the distances. So in the right side here, between these 2 triangles, this is about 800 miles, while the left side from the center of Nevada Triangle to the center of this one is about 1,600 miles. It's actually a multiplication or a product of 400. So 400 in nature is very interesting. We have a similar shape here comparing to the astronomical actually events that I put up over there. So you can see that in the right side, we have Earth, that's a blue globe or blue circle. In the middle, we have Moon, and in the left, we have the Sun. So what has it to do with the number 400? Well, the distance between Sun to Earth is 400 times more than the distance between Moon to Earth. And that's not it. We have another incident. The diameter of the Sun is exactly or very closely 400 times the diameter of the Moon. So you can see the relationship between the number 400 and the distances and the diameters in nature, and I can compare that to Sha'Z mystic lines and areas here.
Do you think that there is no coincidence that all of this is occurring?
Let me put it this way. I don't think it's coincidence. I think really something is happening because, as we talked earlier, the language of the universe is mathematics, and geometry is a portion of mathematics. As you can see here, I use the same concept, and I found the same relationships here with the distances. But don't forget, the diameter of this left circle here is not 400 times the diameter of this one. This is just a eshel that shows that relationship consists with the relationship of sun, moon, and earth in astronomical perspective. Okay, so this is about the 400 lines and the distances. So I used the 400, and I found out that I can split this area into similar distances. I mean, equal distances of about 400 miles. The reason I did that to show here is that the number 6 area here is about 400 miles from the center of the Nevada Triangle circle here. And that number 6 is the Skinwalker Ranch. That's where the Skinwalker Ranch exists. So if people are thinking about the reason of the Skinwalker Ranch, the incidents are happening over there, the first thing they ask is why all these incidents are happening there. Is it something related to under the ground? Is there a UFO buried over there? Is this a specific natural phenomena? What is it? Why these things are happening in that area? So there's no answer to the location, right? This map here easily shows a relationship between Skinwalker Ranch and other areas. So it's a new discovery that's been done, and it relates the mysterious things and mysterious phenomena that happen in the 3 areas. So there are other areas, as you can see, beside the Skinwalker Ranch here, which is number 5, number 4, and number 2. These are other areas. For example, number 2, this is in the corner of New York State, a little bit under the Niagara Falls in Canada. So we have the natural actually landscape over there. And then we have all these areas that a lot of actually people, a lot of incidents are happening there. A lot of mysterious incidents are happening there, such as ghost house, haunted houses. They're in that area. Very interesting. And that is the Skinwalker Ranch.
A lot of people talk about ley lines and some sort of energetic grid on the planet. Is there any scientific proof, or at least some sort of scientific thing that we can measure that these lines exist?
I looked very deep into that. I couldn't find any specific scientific relationship between them. But it's very interesting that many of these monuments and many of these structures are aligned on a straight line. So wherever you put 2 dots, wherever on a screen, you put 2 dots, there can be a line attaching these 2 dots. Whenever you put 3 dots, there can be a circle, and they can be a triangle. Wherever you put 4 dots, they can be a circle, and they can be multiple circles, and they can be multiple triangles, and so on. So you always can come up with some relationship between the dots. The problem is not the dots and line relationship. The problem is the, what is it called? The meaning of these relationships. In here, you can see, you can consider these lines as ley lines. I'm talking about the principal line, Sha'Z deputy lines, and these areas. These can be considered as the ley lines, but the difference is that it has meaning, and it's measurable, and it's scientific. So it's very strong. It's different than people just imaginary come up with the line. So I have pattern here. I have evidences. I have measurable, actually, scientific facts here happening. So it's way different.
What about Sedona? Are there any lines that encompass that?
Actually, yes. Remember I talked about the distances, the 400 miles distance? Interestingly, the distance between Skinwalker Ranch to Sedona is also 400 miles. And more amazingly, the distance between Skinwalker Ranch to Sedona is 400. The Skinwalker Ranch to the center of the Nevada Triangle is 400. And I think the distance between the center of the circle to the Sedona is also 400. So we're talking about the isoscale triangle or equidistance triangle.
That's interesting.
Let me see if I have that map here. So this map here is very interesting because it shows a relationship between the Skinwalker Ranch, the Sedona, and the Nevada Triangle.
And you also have Devil's Tower there too.
Yes, Devil's Tower is a special natural spot. Also is a Skinwalker Ranch and also Sedona. These three are special natural spots. Skinwalker Ranch, not many people know that it's a special natural spot, but I talk about it in my book and I explain why it's natural and why and how the geometry is actually affecting that area. Anyways, on this map, you can see the white circle is the circumcircle of the Nevada Triangle, and it has a center in the middle, okay? And if you connect a line from the center to Skinwalker Ranch, that's 400 miles. And if you connect the same, line from the same center to Sedona, that's also 400 miles. So this black circle is centered at the center with the radius of 400 miles, okay? And then the distances between Skinwalker Ranch and Sedona is almost 400 miles. And the distance between Skinwalker Ranch and the Devil's Tower is also 400 miles.
Is the distance from Devil's Tower to the center of the Nevada Triangle 800 miles?
It's around that.
I wonder if there's something else that's 800 miles away from the center of the Nevada Triangle.
There are. It's not in this map, but let me see if I can show this. I don't have it here. This is interesting if you want to see that the northern border of the Lake Michigan Triangle, if you continue that line of the northern border, it reaches to the Devil's Tower. I'm not sure if this is 800 miles or not. It might be. It's very close to that.
Can you show us the Utah Triangle?
Yep. So Utah, here you can see, this is the map of United States with all the states. And that is Utah. And that's the area. So you can see with this Google Earth map, make it much easier with all the states. And then this is the Utah. This is the Skinwalker Ranch area. The center of this is almost near the center of the Utah Triangle. Okay, so this location here is on the Sha'Z principal line, and it has 400 miles distance to the Nevada Triangle. Okay, and that is the line, the black line, and the top and the down, you can see the gray lines, which are Sha'Z principal lines. Okay, so I have this. What I did is that I know that I know that this is the center of a circle, that circle is encompassed by these two lines, the gray lines. So I'm doing some sort of reverse engineering or reverse calculating. So I draw a circle, and the circle would touch the two gray lines, right? Very interesting. And then I drew a line from the northern part to the southern part. This is one of the lines of the Utah Triangle. Then I know that by pattern, there should be another line that is towards the North Pole. And so I draw this one. This is how the pattern actually revealed. So I used the pattern and I drew the second line. So I close this triangle, and here you are. This is the Utah Triangle, and I labeled them. The center is the UTTCC, which is Utah Triangle Circumcenter. And down to the right, you have UTTE, which is the east corner. And then in the left, you have UTTS, which is south. And at the top, you have UTTN. And the gray lines, as you can see here written, is Sha'Z deputy line up. And the gray down in the lower part is Sha'Z deputy line down. The straight black line in the middle is Sha'Z principal line. So this area, this triangle, is actually the Utah triangle. And I colored it in yellow just to show it. And the abbreviation is UTT.
Do you have a picture of the different incidences that's happened within the triangle?
No, to be honest with you. But what I have here that I can show is all 4 of these ones in a row, if that helps. So this is the cover of my book, Sha'Z Mystic Lines and Areas, Geometrical Insights into the Mysteries and Introducing the Utah Triangle. And this is part 1. So in part 1, I showed step by step from page 1 to the last page how I came up with the Utah Triangle and what are the relationships between them, between these triangular areas. In part 2, I bring up some other fascinating incidents that is happening inside the United States, and they are related to these triangles geometrically that nobody ever actually investigated or researched or looked at.
What challenges have you faced establishing mysteryology as a legitimate field of study?
Oh, plenty. I have a lot. Anytime you introduce a new concept, I think there is skepticism. A lot of people see mysteries as just stories or entertainment that happen to others, and would never happen to them. But I'm trying to show that we can study them scientifically. It's been challenging to get people to see the data, the patterns, and the connections that I've uncovered. But I think the field is gaining credibility as I'm moving forward.
Do you believe with your work you've been able to predict future incidences? And if so, have any of them come true?
Well, yes, more data will help me. So I need to continue my research and collect more data. And these data will reveal more patterns. And this pattern will help me to predict and foresee some incidents or similar incidents that are appearing in the future.
Your book is called Ancient Mysteries Decoded. Within the book, are you showing other sites around the planet besides the ones in the US?
I have 2 books published. The first book is Sha'Z Square. And Sha'Z Square is mostly touching in the structures and the nature in the Middle East and in that side of the world. And it's been expanded to America as well. Then my second book, which is Sha'Z Mystic Lines and Areas, is actually focusing inside the United States and relating these incidents and these natural phenomena together, which is in the territory of America, in the northern continent of America. But there are relationships between these 2 actually areas also. The Sha'Z Square is related to the mystic lines and areas in the United States, which I presented in my actually last speech in Alien Event Cosmic Command, which happened October 19th in Las Vegas. It was a hotel called Alexis Park Resort. And over there, I revealed the relationships between these 2, which was for the first time.
Do you know what the purpose of the pyramids was for?
Well, I don't know that. I haven't found any specific relationships to find what is the purpose, but I found that what I believe is that they didn't just build those gigantic structures in just that area for their own entertainment or for their own satisfaction. There is a huge knowledge behind it that I don't know if it's lost or not. Maybe it's not lost and some people are aware of it, but they don't want to reveal it. Anyways, the public right now is not aware of the main purpose of building the structures of those pyramids, specifically the Great Giza pyramids in that location. But my research shows that location is special.
Do you agree with the narrative that the pyramid has 2 million stones and it was built within a 20-year period?
If that is true, that's very fascinating. It's hard to believe that human with those technologies in that era was able to build this. Not even 20, not even 200 years. It's not easy because we don't see anything similar to that elsewhere. For example, the ziggurats, many of the ziggurats are built in the same era, but it took them a long, long time and not in the same method. But the shapes are the same. The locations are interesting, but the way that they constructed and pulled the stones from different area and pulled it over there and built the whole fascinating, very precise, measured, actually, structure in a very, very short time, like only 20 years. I'm not aware of how they did it. I'm not aware of who did it and with which technology they used to do it.
Do you think it was created by a lost technology, or do you think we had some sort of alien intervention?
This is a very good question, and everybody's asking that. That's $1 million question, I think. Let me put it this way. The same shape of pyramids, we have it elsewhere in the world. We have it in China. We have it in Europe. We have it in Mexico. And the structure and the shape of it and the design on top of it are very similar. We can find very similar shapes. There is actually research done, and they believe that these people have been spread around and transferred the knowledge to other civilizations, right? But how come the other civilizations did not come up with the precise measurements that happen in Giza that you see over there? They're not very accurate, the way that the Giza pyramid is. In that era, in that time, it's hard to believe that it's been done by a human. Just few years, I think, I mean, not a few, but a few, decades before or after, the Sumerians came up with the number 0. So as you can see, they're not aligned with each other. The amount of knowledge that they have, the Sumerians, and the amount of knowledge that the builders of the Giza pyramids have is totally off. It's totally different. The level is different. So that means that there is a knowledge that was just brought over there. They used the knowledge to build and construct, and the knowledge disappeared. So it was very temporary. So was it done by human? I doubt. Was it done by alien? It's more probably.
What is the biggest takeaway you want someone to get from reading your new book?
Well, let me do it this way. So I can say I want people to feel inspired to explore the unknown. I want them to look at these mysteries from a newer perspective that's not been done before. Just use their creativity and turn around the mystery and look at it from another perspective that's been never looked before. So my books offer a fresh way to look at the world and our life and all the mysteries around us. It's showing how ancient structures, natural landmarks, and all these mysteries are all connected to each other. I know that we are all connected to each other, but the method and the way that we are connected needs to be discovered. So if I can get readers to think critically and approach these topics with curiosity, I feel like I've done my job.
What about your work inspires you the most?
Well, my work, first of all, said that follow your curiosity, follow your dreams, see what you like to do, and just go and do it. Never stop. You might slow down, but don't ever stop. Just follow your dreams, follow your curiosity, and use your creativity and your smartness, and use yourself in general and in total, and you will come up with the results that satisfies you.
Do you have an expected outcome of your research? Are you hoping to discover a certain thing, or are you just doing it to see where it goes?
Well, a little bit of each. From one side, I look like I consider myself as a person with a torch inside a cave. From one side, my curiosity pushes me to move forward. And as I move, I discover more things and it fascinates me. But I have limited actually lights in front of me. It's just a torch, okay? So it's a little bit of both of them. From one side, there are a lot of unknown things around me that I try to find them. From another side, after I find them, I need to find a way to solve them. So finding the problem is one section, solving it is another section. Both together completes my mission.
Is there a certain part of the planet that you're specifically working on currently?
Yes, and I want to put that for later. I don't want to reveal it, but just to bring up your curiosity, I found a strangler area that is very fascinating, and I called Sha'Z triangle, like Sha'Z square. Then I found the shot. I put the word Sha'Z just to make it specific and separate it with other triangles, so you can follow my work. I always appreciate the people that in my life help me to get the knowledge, all my professors, all my teachers, anybody who helped me in this field. I am always grateful and I always appreciate them deeply with my heart that they made me who I am right now. But most of all, I want to appreciate my family and specifically my parents, that they were always encouraging me in this field. Since I was a kid, they were pushing me to follow my curiosity. My father is still alive, and he's my most important encouragement to move forward.
You're going to be giving a presentation in Los Angeles in 2025. Can you give us a little sneak preview of that?
Well, yes. So for those who are following my works and they read my books, they want something more. So I'm not a person to repeat things. You know, I like to add things to what I know and share it with my friends, at least for the people who are interested in this field. So I am continuously researching, and right now, as we speak, I am in the middle of publishing 2 more books. One of the books is the continuous of Shaw's mystic line and area, which is going to be part 2. In part 2, if the book comes out before the event, I'm going to reveal some other fascinating things that is happening inside the United States, which are related geometrically and scientifically to the lines and areas that I already presented in part 1. In my other book, which I'm going to bring up the UFOs. I'm going to talk about the UFOs. And over there, I'm going to reveal some fascinating things that I haven't seen it in other places. For example, let's assume that you are a pilot of a most modern airplane. Let me put it this way. When you sit in the cockpit, what you do, you check the weather, you check the temperature, you check the wind, you check the visibility and some other stuff. You want to make sure that your vehicle has enough fuel and is maintained properly so it can fly, okay? And then you get permission from the tower and you sit and you fly, right? You take off, you fly on a specific route, and then you land. And you always communicate with the base, with the tower. But we are in 2024. What if we are in 8,100? I'm giving you this specific number. What if you are in a year 8,100? Over there, you have a specific vehicle that also travels in time. So if you are over there sitting in that airplane or in that vehicle, what are the things that concerns you? Is it still the temperature, or is it much more? It's much more complicated. And over there, we have a device, attached to the vehicle that you can turn it on and go back in time. You click on that, and the next thing you know, you're back in time in 2024 or 2000, another year. Okay. So then you see people traveling with airplanes, very amateur actually flights, right? And they're still using very basic technology, which is airplanes. And you are flying with a UFO or with a device that we call it UFO now, and you are from our future. You come back. You don't want to change the future, so you don't communicate with the people in that time. So this can be another actually interesting view of what's happening with the UFOs. So I'm going to bring these things up a little bit in my next book. And as an example, I'm going to bring up a fascinating actually incident, UFO incident, that's one of my favorites, which is the Rendlesham Forest incident. The Rendlesham Forest is an incident very well documented, not just by regular people, but by the military, the Air Force, and not just in the United States, but in England. So the Rendlesham Forest incident happened in England. I think it was 1980. And the reason that is very fascinating is because somebody went and touched the UFO, actually. And it's documented, been recorded. And that person's still alive and shares the same story that he shared before. And there was a message delivered from the UFO, from that object, to him telepathically. And that message exists, okay? After 30 years, that message has been revealed and decoded, and now it's available for public to go and do the research about those things. I'm going to touch about this incident besides the other incidents that happened, but mainly it's going to be Rendlesham Forest incident. And I'm going to talk about why that location is important, why it's different, why the UFOs just came over there. I mean, the UFOs did not come over there to just say hi, good morning, or good night. They came over there for their own research and for their own purposes, right? And I show why that location is important and how is it aligned with natural phenomena on Earth in that spot. So these are coming out. If I publish my book, I want to talk about them.
After watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
I receive a lot of emails through my website. So as I said, I have a brand. It's called Ancient Mysteries Decoded. It's been registered. I have a website with the same name. And it's also linked to another actually domain, which is my first and last name, ShahrokhZadeh.com. And both of them directs you to Ancient Mysteries Decoded. Over there, there's a portal that you can put your questions and send me an email, and I will be more than happy to receive them and answer them for you as much as I can.
Shahrokh, before we wrap it up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Follow your curiosity. This is the sentence that I use all the time. There's a reason that you came up with that question in your head. There's a reason. And why that question didn't come up to other people. It came up to you. So that means that there's a message, there's a mission behind that curiosity. So follow your curiosity and accomplish your mission.
Shahrokh, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.